Alright, I'm just waiting for the tail shaft. I've got to get a universal joint done it. I'm going to put this CV joint back in the gearbox in here. Got the right hand side one. I've got the bolts here. And we'll put this in and do that up, and I'll get that rag out of the gearbox too. Alright, took the rag out of the gearbox. We'll just got to make sure I'll clean this up a bit. That looks pretty clean. Right, I'll get a bungee cord because I'm going to have to hold that end up, that side of it. So I'll do that. And we'll put it in. Alright, I've got a bungee cord ready. So what I need to do is I just got to be careful when I go to get it in position. Don't put any pressure on that seal up there. So I get to put it in. That's it. We got it. Now you want to make sure you hold it with your hands so you don't go put any pressure on it. Try and get a couple of bolts in here started. Just so when I take my hand off it, it won't fall off. Alright, now I've got it held in my hand here. Just prop it up like that with your bungee cord because you don't have the CV hanging down. And now I'll just put the bolts in it. I have to use two ends, but I won't film that, and I've got 3 of these bolts here that go in the back there. I've got them in my hand here ready. So I've got 3 there. Alright, the tools I used was a 16mm socket with an extension, and I used just a ratchet too. And I used a 11/16 spanner, open ender. Hang on, 5/8, I mean. 5/8 spanner to get on the bolt here to do that up, and also there's a bolt under it, and there's 2 bolts underneath there. I'll get in and I'll show you. That's the first one here that you got to do, the spanner, and that one there, that one over at the back here. You need a 5/8 to get that off, and it's got what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts holding 3 bolts on the gearbox, and 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 8 bolts, sorry, 5 on the actual CV mount and 3 on the gearbox. So I hope that helps you out there. And I've got 2 bungee cords just holding that joint up. I'm just about to put 2 new bushings in here and change these control arms, which I've got it sitting upright, which I should be able to do on here. I'll have to take the chain off and yeah, as soon as I'm ready to do these, we'll get them done. Alright, we've got these new bushings here. Is the chains there to prevent it from like, you know, getting knocked over or anything, so you don't do any damage or nothing. So I'm sitting on the ground. Out of the way, mate. Good boy. Alright, carefully sit it there. I'll get a couple of things to prop it up and then we'll bash them in. What I'm actually going to do is, instead of using WD-40, I'm going to put a bit of grease in the top of them. Just break that off, that ring. Going to put a bit of grease in both of them, just to lube it up, so that way when they go getting knocked in there, they'll want to slide, because that WD-40 is going to dry out. So just wipe some grease in it. Alright, got my extension and a bigger hammer. Definitely got it started. I don't want to go mangling up the top or anything, so I'm just being extra careful checking it. Just keep on checking it. We don't want to warp that top at all and do any damage to it, so that's why we want to keep on checking it every time we're hitting it, because I'm worried about damaging it. Don't just go belting away at it. That looks good. I've got a little bit to go on it. It's not there yet. The top's still good. We haven't dented it or nothing, but you know, luckily we put that grease in it. What you really need to do is on the top of it, we really need to hit. You really, instead of using this to make it go off a bit, we really need something that's more flatter. So make sure you got a pair of glasses on too, so you don't damage your eyes. It's almost there. It's got a tiny little bit. See if I can set this up. Got a tiny little bit to go, and make sure you got your safety glasses on, because if you get a strike of metal or something in your eye, could go blind from that. So make sure you got glasses on. That's it. We've got it. Looks flush. Yep. It's completely flush. So we've got that on there, which is nice. And I've got it propped up off the bottom too, so it doesn't dig into the dirt. Alright, I won't film the next one, because that's just the same process. Just take your time doing them. Don't rush. I'll tell you what, they're easy to get out. I just used a bigger socket and stuck it in the middle and bashed them out. One come out alright, another one fell apart, but that's all you got to do, just take your time. And yeah, when I take these lower control arms off next, we'll do that. But I'll just put this other one in over here. I've got it sitting in the box here. Rear body bushings for this Xtrail 2008 T31 it is, or late 2007 to 2014. That's what they are. This Xtrail control arm subframe bushings. I forgot to mention too that I filmed that one doing it. Now I've just got this one in. I forgot to mention too the socket what I've been using. It's a 1 3/4 the truck socket, so it's probably a 40 something millimetre. It's a real big one and it fits over there very nice. It sits over there. It's got plenty of coverage on it, and that's what it is. And I've got a big ass truck adapter socket, 1-inch one, because this is a 1-inch. Oops, this is a 1-inch drawer. And so that's how I drove them bushes in. And we'll get these control arms out. I've got 2 new ones to put in it. Alright, I've got the new control arms here. I've got a open ender on one, and we'll put a bit of spray on this. This one's an 18mm. So what we're going to do is put impactor on it carefully. Whoops. Jesus, that's tight. What I'll do is go and get my big ratchet. Alright, I've got my big ratchet here. What have I done with the socket? 18mm socket. Well, I've got this in my hand. I'm going to loosen another one off while I'm at it. That makes it easier. Jeez. Bloody hell. Yeah, it's a big truck ratchet. Alright, now we can put the ring spanner back on it. Underneath it, get our 18mm back. Bloody oath, that was tight. Make sure you got it on there. Right, that's it. And of course, the control arm bolt, I need to lift it up a little bit. I'll just grab another block of wood, lift it up more. The bolt come out. Keep that close. Right, now I've readjusted it. Alright, we've got that one out. This one's 18mm. These other ones are 21. So we'll try with the impactor first and see if we can get them out. If I can get it on there. These are 21. So just two of them. And this should just come out. Now this is what was wrong with it. It's all, what I'll do is my little thing shows it's all split in it. Hopefully you can see that properly. It's all busted in the back here. Just absolute garbage. That's what they're supposed to look like. Nice and solid rubber. As you can see here, it's all perish. All in here. That's why the wheels and that were wearing uneven on the car. So what I'll do is just get some WD-40 and I'll just spray it in the bolt holes. We'll put these 21mm bolts back in. They're a fine thread too. Alright. Save yourself a lot of stuff in around. Make sure you've got a rag handy. What I'll do is I'll just put my spanner on it and I'll just run this down with the impactor. Not tight, just leave it like that. Just to make sure, got it? Make sure the control arm's perfect. Yep, exactly like the old one. These ones here, just get the normal ratchet. Don't go. Hopefully you should see on that when I did. You can just see it. What I'll do is, I'll do this one up by hand with the big ratchet what I got because I want to feel the pressure of it. I'll just take this off. We'll just do these ones up. So they're nice and tight. Alright. Now we'll put our socket back on. Got our big ratchet here. Just because the sun's on this side, I'll take these around the other side and I'll get it set up. Alright, that one went good. We've got this one to do. Just get the 21mm. Take them off. Pull that out. Same deal. Just absolutely flopping around in there, loose as anything. Completely broken this. Completely stuffed. Just absolute rubbish. Alright, so put this one in. Now, give them a squirt in there. Give the bolts a squirt too because they're a little bit rusty. And they're nice and tight. We've got to do up them 21s. We don't want to go doing them up too tight. Reasonable. Alright, that's it. That's how you do it. 2008 Nissan Xtrail. We've done the bushes, the rear subframe bushes in it, and we've done the control arms in it. This one was actually worse than I thought. This one here. I couldn't believe it. And the other one's not as bad. not as bad. That's the other one to it. The other one's completely stuffed too. But this one's not even attached no more. That was just flopping around. So that explains the bad tyre wear on it. I mean, I couldn't put this back in the car put new tyres on it and have this shit going on. So yeah, like I said earlier, just waiting for the tail shaft for the mechanic, and I'll put the tail shaft back in the car, put the subframe back in there, put the radiator and stuff in there, and we should be ready to start the car up shortly. Alright, I thought I'd quickly film this. This is the front of the Nissan Xtrail subframe. I've got other bushing out, and I'll show you how I've been going to remove this. I've already put WD-40 on the top of it, and when I heat this right up, I did have a pipe stuck in another one, and I found it made a lot more work. So I found a better solution to this problem. So what I'll do is, I'll heat her up. Alright, now we've got it real hot. You can get it out in one like that. This is the one I did on the other side. I had a pipe stuck in, and then I got the pipe stuck. But then I realised if you heat these up, I don't want to go touching that. But and I had WD-40 in it too. But if you heat them right up, you'll be able to get them out, punch them out in one, like that. So, just thought I'd show you that. In case someone else has this problem, where you get stuck with it and you can't get them out. Just heat them up. Put WD-40 in the top of them, like I did there. And, yeah, punched it out. I made a mess of this other one. I didn't heat it up. I had a pole and I thought I'd try that. Because these are so long and they got rubber in them, when you go to hit them with a socket or something on the end of it, they'll bounce. So what you got to do is heat them up and give them a good smack in the bottom like I did here. You'll mangle it up a bit, but you know, can't help that. And to put them back in, we'll be putting grease in there. And yeah, take your time. But I've got the tail shafts ready to put back in. I've got that there. I did notice on, I don't want to touch that hot one, but I noticed on the subframe bushings around the rubber here, that when you put a screwdriver or something and reef on them, the rubber's cracked in them. So I've already done the back ones, and I thought I may as well do the front ones while I got the subframe out of the car, because I can't put that back in there like that. And yeah, and we'll be putting the subframe in very shortly. I've got to just put that tail shaft back. Alright, I've got the rear tail shaft back in. I've just got to put a couple of bolts in it, which I've got the last three. I'm not going to film it, but I'm going to put them last three in here, and I'm going to get the subframe ready with them new bushings, and I'm going to get ready to put the subframe back in it. Alright, I've just got the brand new bushing in for the front. They're exactly the same. What I'm going to do is, I've got a socket here to drive it in. I'm going to get some grease around here. I'm going to put some in the top of it. And I don't want to go belting it too hard. So what we've got to do is just get it. Alright, just wipe the hands. Got ear protection on. Put the big socket over it. Want to make sure it's going on straight, so take your time with it. needs to go just a little bit more. Alright, that's it. Just remember to get them out, put some heat on it, heat this up, turn them upside down and hit them on the lip, and you'll get them out. I'm not going to film the other side, it's just the same thing. And once I get the subframe on the ground, we'll get ready to put back in the car. Alright, I've got the new bushings on the subframe, I've got the subframe on the jack. All I'm going to do is wheel the subframe under the vehicle. I'm only on my own here, so I'm going to be fighting it a bit. And get some bolts in it. I'll use logs of wood just to hold it up. And yeah, I'll put her in. Obviously, I'm going to, you know, won't be able to put the camera anywhere or film it, so I'm just going to push it in like this, jack it up, put the back two in and the front two, and do the bolts up, and then worry about the rest of the stuff. It's not like it's not too hard. The only thing I'm going to have trouble is just trying to get it in there on my own, but I'll let you know how I go. Might take me a bit. Alright, we're going to put the steering rack bolts back in. For some reason someone's ripped right hand and rack on here on these bolts, which is unusual because why would they have been out? What I'll do, one of them, get your hand in here though. Got one in. Now I've got to go around and try and get that other one in. That's going to be exciting. Alright, we've got one of them. Now we've got to try and get this one in. I can see it right where the exhaust is. Can I get my hand on it to do it up? Yep. Pull it down. All going from the back of it. You will probably be able to see there. That steering rack belt. Once I get that done up, we'll move on the next day. Alright, our next job is to put this engine mount back on. That was a real struggle to get that subframe and that back in with one person. I noticed once I got a bolt, I sat in the back, and once I could get the front bolts in, I jammed a log of wood under this, under here, and I used the jack and jacked it up at the back so I could get this back bolted in. These steering rack bolts are a little bit of stuffing around, but once you get the hang of it to do them up, I use that. I like to use a ratchet and tool. Hopefully this will go back in exactly how it come out, nice and easy, because it will be a real nightmare if it doesn't. You know what I mean, you want everything to go in. I'll just take that bolt back out for a sec, just check the size of them. That one's a fine thread, one's coarse. What I might have to do is just take that out for a second and just look in that thread. They're only going to put the wrong bolt in it. Yeah, it's definitely the fine thread in the front of that, off the gearbox it is, and it's coarse in the back. So just keep that in mind. Got in there the first time, nice, but now it doesn't want to. Whoops, got too far. Alright. 18, only just had it. Oh, it's on the ground behind me. I had a couple of setbacks. I mean, I went to put the tail shaft back in, and I noticed that the universal joint was stuffed. So that was a setback. And then I've got the subframe out in the ground, and the rear subframe bushings are completely stuffed. And then I'm looking at the control arms. The control arm bushings are completely stuffed in the car too. And then I looked at the front of the bushings, and I got the front of the bushings in overnight, but the front of the bushings was stuffed as well. I mean, all these things on the car just really been taking its toll on me. Alright, that's the gearbox mounting. I already put the CV joint in. Now I've got to hook up this exhaust, which I'm not looking forward to at all, because that does not look fun. So I'll get the exhaust out of the car. Here's the exhaust for it. We've got to put back in. I'm going to need 2 hands to do this. And as you've probably noticed, when I've taken this stuff off, the bolts are still on the exhaust. I'll just spin it around and show you. I've got the bolts still on it. I'll just get the right size, and the nuts on the subframe just over there. So I'll need 2 hands for this, but this is just basically just put it over there and do up the nuts. And once I've put the exhaust on it, we'll go to the next stage. We'll be putting the ball joints in and the wheels on and getting this thing off these jacks. I can't wait for that part. Alright, we're up to assembling the we're going to put the sway bar back in first. Just have a look. Alright, now we've got these little cap things. I've done the nut up. They just sit over the end of it like that. Right. Now as you can see, I've got the nuts, the bolts for the caliper. Here's one. Where's that bloody bolt? Should be here somewhere. I haven't took it out. So what we've got to do is we've got to take this like wood out. We've got a bolt in the bottom of the where the ball joint goes. I've got the disc brake, but we're not going to put that on yet. I had that sitting in the car because, you know, the weather's right. And don't worry, it was already rusty before I got the car, so I've got to take this out. Pull it out. Alright, take the ball joint cover off, because we don't need that. Now we're going to have to push this down and line it up. That will free it up and will allow me to get the ball joint in properly. Now the ball joint goes in nice and easy. I'll show you that. This is real close. When you've got it, when you can move this up and down, I just pushed it straight in. It's already jammed itself in there. What size spanner is it? That ratchet only wants to go well, mate. I've got the right spanner anyway. It won't matter. Now what I'll do is, I won't do it up tight yet, because now I've got it sitting off, we'll put this CV joint in it. Actually through the hub of it, before we even go to put that back in. Because we won't get, if we put this back in now, we won't be able to get the CV joint in it. Right. Got the CV joint here holding up. Give me a tight one. Now you don't want to get anything caught in here. Oh, look at that push back through nice. Just how it come out. Come off nice like that, goes back on nice. Now we need to line up the bolts in here. In the I'll take these bungee cords off, and we'll put the bolts in the strut. What's going on with that? It's going in a little bit far. I have to pry. Got the right socket here. It's a 21mm. I'll have to put the nut on it. Alright. Now, where's the bloody... Like there was a big ass cotter pin, and that big ass cotter pin's actually kicking around the ground. What I took out of that, actually picked it up, threw it in the wheelbarrow. What I'll do is I'll go and get a new one out. That was what was in it. Alright, what I've decided to do is we're going to leave this cotter pin at the moment, and we're going to put the caliper on. Oh, there's the other bolt there in the caliper still. Put that on there. We better put the disc on. Put the disc here. Right, that's the disc on. Now, this is going to be the tricky part. I think I might have to crack the nipple on the brake just to let it push back. Get myself a little spanner and I'll do it. Alright, got myself a little spanner here. What size is this? And what we're doing is we're trying to relieve pressure from the when I'm trying to get it on. It's literally what we're doing is pushing the piston back. I might have to. It's just fiddly, this. And also this car, it's sort of starting to give me the shits a bit. I don't know if anyone else has had cars like that. fuck hell. Have a rest for a minute. It's really getting to me, this car, a bit. I fucking, you know, you pull the fucking engine out, the engine's fucked in it, and then, you know, you got your, you know, universal joint, the tail shaft was fucked. 2 control arms are fucked on, it's got 4 fucked tyres. I mean, it really starts taking its toll when you do this sort of stuff. How these fucking dickheads keep on driving around with cars like this has got me. Alright, we'll do up the caliper. Just make sure that when you handle the brake fluid and that, don't go touching your paintwork on your car and that. I just went and washed my hands. Alright, got a couple of these little hoses here to plug back on what I took off before. I've got another one up here. This is just ABS shit or something. Just push that back in with my finger. Oh, and I missed one. There's one here. Alright. And I've got to tighten that big bolt under here for the what size is that bolt? That's an 18. Yeah, 18's them. Yep. We'll just do it up with a spanner there. Alright, so we've done up the, oh shit, get on the jack. We've done up that lower ball joint, we've done up the shocky, put the cap back on, done all that up. Alright, the only thing I got to do is tighten up this big nut, and I'll wait until I can put it in gear, so, and I'll have to bleed the brakes as well. I'll just put that cap back on there for the time being. I'm not going to film the other side, but I'm going to go around and do the other side now. I might film a little bit of it. Alright, the first step is we'll take the rag out of the gearbox. We're going to use that rag, that's going to come in handy. Got the CV joint here. Let's take the nut off it. Alright, to put the CV joint in the gearbox, it's just as simple as sliding it in. It's got to go in a little bit more. Alright, let's undo these bolts on the strap. We'll make sure we got a hold of it, because we've got to put that, oh, I didn't even take the bolt out of the, where the ball joint goes. Make sure you don't drop the steering. Make sure the steering rack on it, because you'll damage it. I've got this bloody shock in the way. I need to hold that for a minute. I need to move this ball joint. I need to pull it outwards like that. That's it. That's got it. And then we can sit the actual, oh, it's almost in there. Yep. Right, now it can take all the weight of it, you don't have to worry about it. Right, now, our CV joint. It's not in the gearbox fully yet, I don't think. I need to get a tool and just tap that. So what we need to do is put our nut back on. Just like that. Wasn't that going in? It's not quite in, I think. I'll just have a look. It's not. Just a little bit more needs to go. I'll just turn it and tap it. I need 2 ends for that. Alright, all I did is turned it a little bit, tapped it with that wooden mallet. Just so it didn't go damaged or nothing. So what we need to do is do the same we did the other side. We need to put the CV joint in. Oh, we need to move it down. And we need to get our strut line back up. Whoops, just knocked it out again. Alright, put our bolts on that. I'm not going to want to do them up tight yet, just do them up by hand. Get them in there anyway. That way it takes the pressure off everything. We need to get our nut on our CV joint. A bit squished. Just trying to work out why that would be. Can't leave that one. Might be caught. What I'll do is I'll just take this strut bolts out, and once I do that, we'll move on and I'll show you. Put the caliper on exactly the same as the other side. But I've got a boot here, it's just caught at the bottom, and I want to fix that quickly. It was just this rubber here, it was sort of like pinched a little bit. I just knocked it down and then pulled it right down out of it, and then pushed the rubber down with my fingers, and then done it back up. But yeah, that was that. It was only easy, simple fix. Just had to take the strut back out. Just be wary if you're doing that yourselves, because that really caught me out. And I was looking at that, I thought that's weird. I actually had the ball joint down a little bit too far. So we've got the other bolt put in. we've done the top. I'll get the disc brake out. It has some pinks to rubber. Smoothed up right enough. Yep. Beautiful. Because they're not going to go on the disc. Oh, don't tell me, look at that. It wants to go together now. Running those and whole dashboards and normal cars, they're very light compared to this calibre. Oh. Got the top one to do. That's the top one. That's the bottom one. Now I've got a couple little grommets to put it back in. Alright, we've got this transmission bung down here. Well, probably better off doing first. I'll go taking that out. I've already took it out already, loosened up when we had the transmission out. But this is where you fill it up, the gearbox. Just do that up. Now we'll poke this in into the gearbox. Sit that in the gearbox like that. Now we've got our little funnel. I think I might get a cable tie or something to hold this funnel up, because it's going to keep on falling over when I do that. We'll put the oil in it, 2 litres it needs. Alright, we've got our bottle, 75 to 90 watt, and in our bottle we've got 2.1 litres. We'll take out that 100 mils of oil, so we can put the vodka in. I'll just stick that in the jug for the time being. Alright, as you can see on the bottle, you've got exactly 2 litres. There's 2 litres there. That's a little bit I took out of it. I'll keep this covered up because we don't need trash. Alright, I've got my little funnel set up. It's a brand new funnel, goes straight in the gearbox. What we'll do is all I'm going to do is stand on the side here and just let the oil run into it. I've got a cable tied too. I don't really want to be pumping the oil too fast out of the bottle, just in case it gets an air blockage in the gearbox, it doesn't puke it out. And I'll just let it drain out like this. Alright, all the oil's in it, the 2 litres. I'll just wait for it to drain out of my funnel properly. Alright, now we've got the oil drained out of it. We'll take this funnel out. Let's hopefully we don't get much dripping. We want to undo the cable ties. And once we pull this out, we want to move it quickly. We don't want to drip it everywhere. Something like that. So we need to get that ratchet on there. Righto, that will be heaps. Oops. Right. That's That's our gearbox plug. Now, take this stuff off. And the tool is a big Allen key. It's a H10. So it's a 10mm Allen key in the drain and in the filler cap. Just if you got a hand Allen key, you really need a socket for the top here. I'm not saying that you couldn't get under it and put a 10mm Allen key on it and, you know, give it a quick tap with the hammer or something to loosen it. You could do that if you don't have the actual thing. So we've got our stuff's just sitting there. I'll move this out of the way. Otherwise, now where's our gearbox linkage? Here it is. Just be careful with them wires, don't go pulling on. These heater hoses are just sitting on here. I just stuck them heater hoses on there for the time being, just to keep any dust out of the getting in there. So what we'll do is, see there, you should be able to see it now. I've got that's just the breather. I'm not going to worry about that. We need to undo these two bolts, and this is for our shift cable. The gearbox. So, all right, these are 13mm. Bolt. What I'll do is I'll just stick it down right where the camera is in. That's the first one. The second one is in a tight spot. I'll get extension. Won't do that up fully high. I've got this other one I need to get in, which it's all moving around. Keep them hoses up here somewhere if I can. Whoops. I've got one bolt to get in right next to the linkage. I've got it right in here. Beautiful. Alright, I've got our first one now. Now need to tie it up for a second. Whoops. That's got it. Yep. Right. Our shift and linkage tighten back up. I'll go in the car and see if that moves. I got no idea what was going on there. I was moving it through the gears, and that's in first gear where that is. I put in first, I think. I'm not 100% sure, I've never drove a car like this before. So, it's all new to me. All the other mechanisms are all bolted up. Something. We'll work it out. I've got the clamps here. These are a prick of a clamp to get on. I'll get myself a pair of pliers. Them. Alright, I've got myself a pair of pliers here. Just put the clamp on. What a nightmare it is. Get this fucking clamp on here. Don't want to keep on slipping off. Right. The fun part is he's actually holding the clamp, moving it back on the pipe. And then putting the clamp back on. These clamps, they're the worst thing you'd ever take off and try and get back on. They're the hardest to remove, they're the hardest to put on. Alright. Right, now I've got the hose on there. Now the thing is to get this clamp down. Clamp down. That's the question. All I'll do is put the two clamps on. Once I do that, I'm going to wrestle this for a bit with a pair of pliers, and we'll move on to the next stage. Right, that second clamp, what I put on here, what was kicked around that pipe, I just used my yellow pair of pliers. And this clamp here is a bit more forgiving than the back one. For some reason you can move it around a lot easier. That back one's so tight. So we've got the clamps on, and we've got most of the other stuff connected. We'll sit this stuff on the ground. We don't need that stuff. Anything we don't need we'll move. Put this in my pocket because this will just blow around. Don't want that. And I don't want to lose that plastic bag either, because that's what that kit come out of, and I'm going to put it back in that bag. Alright, now I've had that covered up, so we'll just leave that. The next step we're going to do is we'll get the airbox out of the car. I just want to show you something with this airbox. Is we want to check in here, because I'll show you why when people don't clean them out. Look at that stuff coming out of that. Look at this stuff. And And when I took it out, I was a bit confused about how it goes back in. So anyone that takes these out, and it's pretty clean too, it's without air filter. Here's air filter here. This is only on the top of it. Just give it a bit of a tap. And what you actually got to do is that this is the bottom of it. You don't want to go sticking your dirty, filthy hands over it. This filter is pretty clean. Right. Make sure you blow the inside of it out with your face. But how it actually goes is you put the air filter in like this. So this part here goes to the back and it's upside down when you put it in. Then what you do is you slide the cartridge in, just like that. Right, the cartridge is in there. And then your next step is you've got to put this cap back on. And that's how you put your air filter on. And Christ knows where that come from. Put that in my pocket. So I don't know how that clip got in there. We wouldn't want that circulating through the motor. But it's always good to check the air filter. So I thought I'd do, just because the car's been sitting, and also they haven't had it running. So right, now we know the air filter's in there properly. Now we can bring it back over the car. So it's got to go in. It's got to go back in down. Hopefully you can see all that properly. Should be able to. Alright, now, like I said before, I put that rubber thing back in, and it's got to go into that slot in the bottom. So put the box in, pull back on the battery tray. You're not going to do any damage to that. Give it a bit of a wriggle round. See if we can get this in intake first, like that. Now we've got that hole in the bottom down there, but we've got to make sure we get that in. That's where that clip's probably come from, up here. Now we'll do up the clamps. We've got one on the motor here. Got nothing going in the intake. Now we've got another pipe here somewhere that's sitting down below. I'm not sure where that goes yet, but I definitely want to make sure I tuck that pipe up here where I can see it, so I don't forget about it. And once I've got all this stuff on the car, I'm going to wash it down. Going to give the engine a good washing degrees. Alright, now I've got a couple of bolts here just come out of it, out of the air cleaner. I'm not sure exactly what goes where, but that looks like it might go in here. I'll do a bit of socket for that. That one's probably a 10. we don't go doing it too tight, you end up stripping it. It's very important when you're doing stuff with the car not to do stuff up too tight. Now we've got another air cleaner here. That's got to go on the motor, but where's that other hose go to? Is the question. It doesn't go on that. Alright, so I know where the breather goes. Like I know how this part goes on here. This hose here connects to there, and that does up onto the motor, and that sits like that. But where does that other hose go to? This one here. Let's just move that over. Where would that go to? And it comes from the back of the car. So I'm not sure. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it sort of goes around here, and it goes into something here, somewhere. Am I missing something? There's nothing on the intake for it. I'll find out. Alright, after all that stuffing around, I've been looking at the other motor, and I've been looking at this motor, and this hose that's hanging down the back here actually goes to here on the top. So what it is the hose is sitting down behind the back here, and it was hanging down there, and I wasn't sure where it went. I took all the airbox back out. I didn't want to film that because I'm boys, but this hose actually goes onto here, because this hose here at the back, as we bring the hose around, it's been cut. So I'll have to carefully take that off, because these are very fragile. If you're actually doing this yourself, be very careful of this, because the one I got off my other motor was damaged. So just watch what you're doing when you're pulling this sort of stuff. So what I'll do is I'll carefully slide the clamp back, and we've got to carefully just pop it off like that. And we've got a bracket under here, and I'll be able to pop it off. Yeah, I'll get me pliers. Get a pair of pointy nose pliers and just squeeze it. Make it pull up at the same time. Just like that. And we can take this hose out, sit that there, and then we fish our other hose out, what's in the back of the motor, clip that in, carefully slide it back on there, then get our pliers, turn it around the top, and just be real careful, because this is only plastic, this stuff, so the last thing you want to do is break it. Right, and that's from our mystery hose. Problem solved. Thank God for that. Now I can put all that crap back on. I won't film it, because I'll re-put the air cleaner and that back on. The airbox, I mean, and we can do the rest of the stuff up. Alright, now I've got the airbox back in there, we can hook all this other stuff back up. Got my screwdriver here, do up the clamps on the airbox. I've got another clamp to do up. And when you have trouble where you're trying to find a wire or something goes, don't keep on bolting the stuff up. Make sure you figure out where the wiring goes before you keep on going, because the worst thing that can happen is you end up, you know, it's in a hard to get place and you don't have to pull all that crap back off the car, and that will be a big deal. So, you know what I mean? So we've got to hook this up here. How it goes is, this piece here sits in there, that goes in the clamp, and I've got to hook up the hose on the breather, which is here, which is right there. Then we've got to try and squeeze the air box into the manifold there. Not the air box. It's not the actual air box, that's the air box here. But we've got to make sure this goes in there nice and snug. Alright, on there. Now I'm missing a couple of bolts here because I didn't pull all this shit off. As you probably already know, I didn't go taking all this stuff off, otherwise I'd have all the bolts. Someone else was playing Mr. Fix It, as they do. And then when they can't fix it, they want to get rid of it. So we've got our sensor here and our wiring. It's got to go around the back. What we'll do is we'll clip this in. That just clips in the back here. Into there. Very important to make sure that clips in there, as the cable won't go. And clip our other clips in here. Just like that. Alright, we'll throw this hose on the ground, what we found it was missing. We don't need that. We do have other clips here that have got to go in too, in our battery tray, which I think we might just leave just like that. That's where that goes, and the other bunch of wires here is supposed to go in that clip too. Like that. So there's in there. I'll just leave this big one out at the moment, because it'll give me more flexibility to move this all around. Right. Now the bolt for this, I'm not actually sure where the bolt is. Other radio is out of the vehicle. This is for the top. Got me clamp on there. Got my clamp on there. It's hard to see. I think the clamp's back on there properly. Yep. Alright, now clip this wire back in. Unclipped. That's all back in there. So we've still got to find a bolt for this. I don't know if I can get one out of the motor somewhere. That's when I looked at this motor, that's where that bolt went. I don't know if one of them bolts there might be the same. I'll get a socket and we'll take one out. It's definitely not long enough. It's got to be a lot longer than this. And it even looks like the bolt had a sleeve in it. So what I mean by that is it had a bolt and had a metal spacer in it. And you tighten it down, that's gone. Alright, I found myself a bolt for washer. And it's the right size for this. I've just tested another motor first to make sure it will. So I'll just drop me in there. I don't know what that was. So we'll screw this up. It's almost as good as factory. You wouldn't even know it's not the right one. tighten that down. That's tight. Now, I've got another one over here. It's missing. It's a 10mm nut and it's got to have a washer, and I'll get one of them. Alright, I found a nut for this. It's already got a washer on it. It's another 10mm it is. And we'll just do this up. Might be a little bit too tight though. Might just loosen up a little bit. Might have overdid it a little bit there. Just slip through. Alright, that's nice and tight. I'll show you me nuts and stuff like that. Always keep a huge lot of foldable different sizes. These actually did come from a wreckers before, the same wrecker I bought the Moat from, and they just throw them on the floor and I was putting them in buckets. This is how I got the shit off it when I got the car. I just put it in the boot, pulled all that shit off, put it in the case, put this shit in. So, you know, I'm just figuring out where all this shit goes, how it goes. Obviously this sits in here, goes in here, onto here. I think I might wait. I think I might put the radiator in first, just in case it gets in the way. There's another pipe that goes down onto that. Not sure exactly how that goes. Find out which end this goes. That's just shit's just flopping around in there. So something's going on with that. But if that goes like that goes in here. That goes like that. Right, put that up there. I mean that shit shouldn't be flopping around like that. In that go line. And we'll get the radiator out. And we'll put that in, and the air conditioner in. So we'll try and work out how that goes, and then we can put the battery and shit back in it. That's pretty simple to hook up. I can hook them lines up. I might do that now. I've got it here. What we have to do is undo. Which one is it? Was it that one there? Or? Not sure if they both went in there or not. Like that. But that definitely looked like it come off there. Of course it's 12mm. We've got the other one. Must have come off this side of it. Can't never come off that. Alright, just pull that wire around here. This one's got to go on here, on this battery terminal. Pull that out, put that in there, put the terminal back up. that. Alright, we'll get our radiator out now. Alright, I've got the air conditioner sitting in here in its holes. I'm just working on hooking up this pipe underneath it here, what they've all bent up and angled up. Just working out how I'm going to get that on there. On here it's going to go. And I'll need 2 ends for that. Alright, I've got that piece back in. I think what actually happened is from the, when it had a crash, there's a little bit tweaked still. I pulled most of it out. Got that hooked up. I haven't wrecked the pipe, which I'm happy about that, because they already mangled it up from the wreckers. And let's get the radiator and the thermo fans out. Okay. Here's the radiator and the thermo fans. The car's looking quite empty. Alright, what I'll do is I'll put the couple of bolts in here and then we'll lift that in. And if you ever take this air conditioner off, make sure you use a short ratchet 10mm long extension thin one, and then get down to the bottom of this bolt on here, down here, just like that. And you have to loosen this bracket off here to manipulate it around. It goes through here. Pipe. Be very careful of the bend down here, because I bent it a bit to get it in there, on here down the bottom to hook it in, and I'll tell you it was a real nightmare. So air conditioning's in. Now I'm missing a bracket. I'm not sure how that bracket's supposed to be. Oh no, it's not missing a bracket, it's got to go in there. Oh shit, I have to lift that up. It's not missing a bracket like that. I've got to undo this bolt. And then this has got to clip back in. How am I supposed to clip that in though first? Maybe it's supposed to bend it. Back. No, almost got it though. So move this out of the way. Right, like that, and then we're going to push it back. Right, that's in. That one hasn't popped out, has it? No. Nope. Alright, so now I've got this air conditioning compressor in. I've got the radiator hooked up. The 2 top bolts are in. We hooked up the top pipe. I put the bottom pipe on there. Down here, ready? And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to try and flush the motor with the hose. So I've got the garden hose in the top. I'm going to turn the water on easy and we'll see what sort of crap comes out. bucket. Just trying to flush the motor out first. If we can, come here. Just want to try and get any of that old stuff out if it's sitting in the motor to flow out first. Doesn't look like there's anything in it, any crap. Turn the hose off. Alright, instead of me damaging the radiator, I actually had to take the fans off it, just slide it down in there. It just was not worth the trouble. I had to bend the air conditioner line out of the way a bit. So yeah, to put the radiator in there was not fun. Now I've got the radiator in the mounts. I haven't even hooked up this plug here. This is for the aircon. Just hooked up that. I think while I've got the hoses off, we're going to be putting hoses on. Otherwise I'll never get this on there, you know what I mean? That'd be right there to adjust it. It's very awkward to put a radiator in without knocking it around. I mean, you've got to try your best to not knock it around, but sometimes it's just out of your control. I mean, you just got to be careful. Got a bit of pressure on that pipe there a little bit. It'll be right. Right. And we don't want our overflow hose down here because that goes up here. We won't put that on yet though, we'll just leave that in the front of it. And I'll get the fans. Do I need the fans at the bracket on? Do up the brackets first on this radiator or not? Just have a look. Nah, it just bolts to it. So let's put these brackets on. That's that one. Other one in, which is right here. How do I put that other one in? I'm gonna go. Gotta put it in there, and then I'm gonna force that in. Right, I've got the radiator bolted in. Moves freely. It's nice and stiff. Not gonna flop around or anything. So let's get the thermo fan in. Talk about crammed in. Alright, I think we've got it now. What's holding it up? Something's holding it. Right, that's it. Rightio, let's get the bolts for it. One of them goes in here. Alright, that's that one. One more through. There you go, stripping it. And I've got the radiator hose for the top. We do have one of these clamps in here, just have a look for it. Alright, let's put it on the radiator, and then let's try and get the clamp. Move the clamp down, lock it in. Rightio, this is the top, and we're not touching here. We've got clearance under here, which is good. Now we need to get our thermo fan wire. Just look at this, how compact this motor is. Look at this shit. You know what that plug is there. That plug be for. Don't know. But we've got these here. Lift the wiring up. Alright, we're going to clip this one in first. Which way is it going? Straight in. That's one. This is the second one. The second one's out of its holder. Oh, it looks like it's supposed to. I've got it, no, I haven't got it clipped in. What I did. Why isn't that going? Jesus, don't tell me they're picking up the wire in there. No, got it. It looks like it's supposed to slide in there. I'm going to have to put cable ties on that. It's missing. Old hole. Just like that. And I'm just going to do exactly the same there to the rest of them. There's another 3, 2 or 3. I'm not going to rate film that. And alright, if you have these broken off, what I did over here with that clip is I drilled a hole through the radiator bracket, put a cable tie on, and the cable tied it up in there so it doesn't flop around. We've done the radio. Let's get the batteries in here. I've got the what I'll do is I'll just check the because I haven't done this up yet. What size is it? 14? Must be a 30. Alright, now I've got the right socket, 13mm. I don't want to go stripping them. Make sure they're tight too. Got them holes there. That's what these go in the back of it. So what we do is we've got to get the tray in the right spot. that's how the tray goes, like that. Alright, I've got all of it bolted up. I'll grab the battery out and I'll lift that in. Alright, now this is our positive, this cable here. Now I don't think anywhere it's got plus on it, but the reason why I know it's positive is this is a negative cable here, just a single black one, and that goes down there somewhere and earths out. Could be on the engine block or somewhere, but yeah, make sure you don't hook the battery up the wrong way in the car. So at all times, make sure we're not going to hook the terminals up. I'm just going to leave them off it, but we're going to put the clamp and that back on. I'll just back the nuts off on it, and it's got a little hole where it locks into. That's the hole there. Alright, I'll just tighten the nuts again. Just like that. I'll get a spanner and then tighten your nuts back up. Alright, I'll give it another yank, and we know it's tight. Just a little bit more, a little bit on the back one, a couple little, just to nip it up, and that's it. And we'll keep the terminals off because we don't want to start the car because we've got no water and I've got no engine oil in it. But what we're doing is just putting all the stuff on ready. Now I've got the plus cover here. Don't know how that went. Oh, yeah, it went like that. Alright. Now I've got the cover on. I've got the pipe in the bottom of it here. I've got to have a look at that because that's just no good like that. And let's put our air breather on. So what this does, get in position, it's got a clip on it. I need to take this off. But it looks like it's supposed to. It might just sit like that. And you've got your pipe in here. You've got to get it on underneath, which you can't even hear me there because I've got everything else on the car. Right, must just sit like this. And I've got the holes that line up here. Got my box of bits, what he took off it. I'm not sure if these go in here or not. They look like they do. There's 3 of them. Alright, that's that. I don't know what this is off. What he's done here, but this other bits he's taken off and they're broken too. Interesting. Well, that's how the cover looks like it just sits in there. It doesn't look like it clips in. sure it is clipped in. I see. There it is. Alright. I know what this bolt was off to. I took it off the bracket of the back of the motor. When I was looking down in the back, you can't see it because all that garbage is on there. But we'll put this back in here because that's where that comes from. Alright, I'll just leave that bolt in my pocket. What we'll do is we'll go and get the grill out and we'll put the grill on. Alright, I've got the grill. I'm going to put the grill on. Better make sure I've got it the right way. So it's got clips in the bottom. It's got them clips there. So you've got to go in here. Put that in. Like that. And it looks like them other plastic junk goes in these holes. On the top of it, that's what holds it. Little ratchet spanner, where is it? Once I do that up, we'll put some clips. Alright, looks like there's a few of these missing because we've got one for there. We'll put one in here, that's two. One in here is three, and we'll put one in here to hold it in. You've got to love these. You've got to love these people when they pull all this shit off. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 missing. It's probably most likely off here, off the radiator. Clamp off there. Other trims are missing. Oh, I mean, look at this. Look at this garbage, how this shit holds on the vehicle. Just by these little plastic clips. There's one clip in here, it's missing the pieces. I need 1, 2, 3 more of them. Alright, I have a bunch of these clips. So I'll put them in there. That one's in there. That's 2, 3. 1 here, it's missing. Right. So the front's all on there. I don't know where this comes from. Not sure. What's that too? Could be off that airbox down underneath the car. Yeah, I've got a few clips here, different ones and that. I've collected myself. And we'll undo the sump. Knock some tape off down there. Don't want to get rid of that. Leave that in there. So I'll undo the sump plug in a minute. Leave it to drain and we'll sort the oil filter over. And yeah, we'll be almost ready for a start. Alright, now we're going to drain the sump and let's see what comes out of it. I haven't done this, I'll put the motor in the car, put the dish over it, and let's see what comes out. If anything, I mean it's got hardly any on the dipstick, but there'll be still something's going to come out though because the motor's slanted back. Yep, I was right. Let's have a look at that oil. Looks black. That. Oh shit! I'll go and get my oil filled bean. Alright, I've got my oil filter strap or bean. It's made out of like a seatbelt material. So what you do is you put it on there and you get your ratchet. Hope I got that. Oh, I've got it. I've got the band on the front of it. That's it. And what it is, it's an oil filter strap, and it's made out of a seatbelt material. I tell you what, I've had some hard oil filters, and this has got them off. None of these ply clamp looking things that or stupid things on there, because what happens is they'll slip and you can squash the oil filter in and you have a lot of problems. I mean, this will squash it in, but this will keep turning. And if you can't get it off with that tool, I've had them before where I can't get them off, is you can drive a screwdriver through them. Get a Phillips head screwdriver and drive it straight through it, out the other side, and then undo it like that. But that's your last resort, to use the screwdriver. If you run your car for a bit and it'll heat up, it'll actually heat that seal up and it'll make it easy to remove. That's just a little thing, you know, you should be aware of. But let's get it off. And of course oil's going to run out. It's both going in there, in the tray, but nearly went on the ground. Just wipe around it. Get any of that crud out. Just throw that in the oil pan, because I'm not going to be keeping any of that. And to get your new filter prepared, we undo it. Once you got your filter undone, just get some new oil. Out of your new bottle and put it around the seal. Just like that. Set it down the ground. Alright, now it's been draining, I'll get myself another tissue out and I'll get in the neck of it and I'll wipe all that crud off. Just like that. We throw that out. Then we get our new filter. And that's it. That's how you change oil filter. That's it. And I've got the sump draining still in there, and I'll give that about, I don't know, half an hour or something. I'll get all them drips out, and then I'll fill it up with some water. And we should be nearly ready for a start. Might get the hose now. We want to put straight water in it because I'm going to leave this to burn. What you do is when you start the car up, when you actually run the car, just make sure you got the cap off it. I'm just going to leave it sit like that for a while. And the only other thing I'd do is put a hose on that clutch line and bleed that. Which I've got my fluid up here. Better do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll fill up the oil, bolt the wheels back on. I've got to tighten nuts up. And yeah. Alright, that's all coming out of it. I don't know if you can, how well you can see in the light, but yeah, I'd say it's looking pretty black. They did have a genuine Nissan oil filter on it. And just for anyone that wants to know how to bleed the clutch in these, I'll explain that to you. So first of all, this is your clutch slave cylinder here, right? So you've got your connection that clips on here. What you do is you undo that connection and just move it back to here, and what that will do is allow the fluid to come up through a hose. I've got the hose down there already. I don't know if you can see that hose. It's got clutch fluid in it, and you just leave it gravity. And once you've done that, you've done it. I've pumped the clutch about 30 times, and then I've snapped it back into place. Don't go walking away and not snapping it back into its place where it's supposed to go, because you could have a leak. That's after I've bled it. I've just let gravity do it. It feels really nice. You can really feel it pulling the clutch in and out on the motor. And to get in here, this, even though it's got a seal, it can still go in the clutch because it's wobbling around in there. And the clip only clips onto this one. This notch here, I don't know what that was for, but yeah, the clutch, when it slides in, it locks into here, and when you bleed it, you slide it back to that rip. Show you. So what you do is, when you push this on, that clip locks into that groove here. When you push that clip to bleed the clutch, you just move that. Once you've pushed it in, the tab, just slide it back to that notch. So all you got to do is move it that far, and you leave it, and then you leave it to gravity feed. Then once you think that it's had enough, or you're trying to suck more fluid out of it, make sure you clip it back in, go and pump the clutch, you know, 20 or 30 times, and then come back around and pop it back to this lip here, and then bleed it again like that. And then as soon as you think no more fluid or air's coming out of it, snap it back into place, and you'll be good to go. Whatever you do, don't take that line off past this little lip. So it's only got to move that. You'll be able to feel it, how far it can move just out past that little, I don't know, it's probably 5 millimeters, and it's got to move back. If you take that past that lip, it will allow air into the line, and then you'll be doing it all again, or you'll be, you know what I mean, you'll be wasting your time. And for anyone that wants to know, this is what the slave cylinder looks like. It's in these Nissan Xtrails. This is what I took out, and I put another one in it. And they're made by, it's got Renault on the side of it, but it's got Valeo, V-A-L, it's got V-A-L-E-O, that's who makes this it's only a old battery, just so I can get my hand there. And yeah, just keep in mind that that's how you bleed it. Now, I didn't know how to bleed it. I worked it out myself by moving it back that little bit, and the fluid shot up in the pipe. You probably want to have the pipe there just in case, so it doesn't try and suck air back in the pipe once it loses the pressure out of it, while it's pushing the fluid. Obviously if you take your pipe off you don't have the pipe on there and you've got the connection and it goes weak and the fluid's coming out, you might end up getting air bubbles going back in it when you go to pump it, and you're probably pushing it around the system. So once you do that, you know, you repeat that like I explained to you the process of it, you'll be good to go. And if your clutch is all right, don't go playing around with it just thinking, oh, I think my clutch needs adjustment, because these are hydraulic. They'll adjust themselves. You don't need to go bleeding this clutch. You shouldn't have to touch this clutch for a very long time. They're not something that you just play around with, because if you're not experienced or anything, you end up, you know, letting the fluid out of it and you have no clutch. You won't be able to drive your car, and you have to get some professional to come and bleed it for you just so you can move your car. So it's not something that you want to play around with. Just beware of that. And it's like anything mechanical. If you, I advise everyone to have a go at, you know, doing mechanical work if you can save yourself some money. I'm not, you know, saying that you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, because, you know, I'm all for it, like, you know, people save. So. And nothing's ever too hard. Like, I mean, you see me pull this car completely apart, and I mean, I put it back together, and you just got to have the can-do attitude. Don't go, like, you know, looking at it and thinking to yourself, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that, because, I mean, anyone can do this. If you don't do it yourself, you know, the mechanic's going to rip you off, you know, $1,000, $1,500 to do this job, just to change the motor, let alone buying parts. That's what they wanted for it. Over $1,000 to change this. I'd hate to say what they would have charged me to do the subframe bushings, what it did, and the control arms. I put brand new control arms in it. I've got brand new subframe bushings. Put CV boots, tail shaft, uni joint. I mean, all that stuff, which is cost a fortune. And yeah. Alright, this is how I've had the car checked up. So what we'll do is we'll drag the other wood out, put that ground. We'll take our jack stand down. It's been sitting there that long, it doesn't want to come out. We've got another log of wood here I'll take out. I just raised up the scissor jack, just holding it. Try and get these. They've been sitting under here that long. Let me just see if I can push the pin out of this other one. Let it down. Now we're going to try and get this one out. Alright. Now, I won't go taking that. Let the scissor jack down. Knock that down just a little bit. Just let it down. Not right down, because now we'll go around the other side. Get my cardboard. Make that turn. I'm going to do the same here. Need to get our wood out first. Better make sure our scissor jack is taking the full weight, because I had the jack stands taking a lot of it. I'll get your wood out of the way first. I'm trying to get this piece out. Jam your fingers in. piece it in. Yeah. Then take this one out. No, the jack's taking all the weight, so I have to go and get me a trolley jack from the other side and jack it up from here to take the weight off it. Alright, I've jacked up the car. I used to take the jack stand, I had to get a band-aid for my finger because I got that jammed on a piece of wood. Now what I'll do is I'll carefully let the jack down on the scissor jack. And move the trolley jack out of the way. And then we'll wind down the scissor jack on this side. Alright, all the weight's off it on this side. Just need to wind this jack in a bit more, get it out of the way, sit the jack to the side, and we'll go around and take the other side again. Alright, we've got to take this off. Just wind this one down. Whoops, I don't damage the car with this handle. Right, just got to wind this down a bit. Move this out of the way. Alright, now the car's sitting on the ground. I'll just tighten up the front wheel nuts in it, and all I've got to do is put oil in it and connect the battery up. So I'll just do the wheel nuts first and then we'll do the oil and battery. Alright, so we've got a clean rag here, pull the dipstick out. Oops, what's that? Sit that there. I don't think it really matters to be a dipstick too much. Let's put open the filler cap up. I think I'm going to get a funnel for this. Alright, so I've got a clean funnel. Just stick that in there. Hopefully I can get it in there without sloshing it. See what it says. So right at the moment we're on 1.5 litres, so we'll put 3.5 in it. We want to put 4 in it. Put another 1/2 litre in it. Between half and full. So I'll put another 1/2 litre of oil in it and then we'll recheck it. Alright, so we've got 4 litres of oil in it now. Just let it run down and then we'll recheck. Alright, we'll give it a couple more minutes, leave it to settle. Let's pull out the dipstick. And I'll just get another white. Put that back in. I've got 4 litres of oil in at the moment. So it still needs about half a litre by the looks of it. Just double check it. Yep, half a litre. The oil's halfway between the full and empty. Put the other oil in it. Should do it. Alright, I'll hook the battery. All I do is hook the battery up here. Alright, we'll just clean this negative terminal. Alright, let's see what our positive terminal's like. The positive one's not the best either. I'll make sure it's on there properly too. Let's pull it in. And don't earth out your tools. Oh, there's the tap there, isn't it? Don't earth out your tools or anything on touch nothing when you got it on here, because you don't want to be giving yourself any electrical problems. A lot of problems in that start with bad earths, so you want to make sure your earth's on there properly. I don't know how this goes. Something like that by the looks of it. Alright, we'll give it a start and we'll see what it does. Righto, ready to start it. What we'll do is we'll take the cap off. I'll just double check the engine oil. Just give that a quick wipe. Yep, we're on full mark. So the fuel's going to take a little bit of that, so we've got plenty of lubrication. Take anything that can fall off the car. I've got my assistant to start it. Yep, alright, give her a crank. Yep. Crank it. Come on. Hang on, I'll just grab a jumper pack and we'll put a jumper pack on it. Like it wants to go, but we'll need to give it a bit of assistance. Alright, I've got a jump start hooked up to it. Right, I'll give her another crank. Turn it off and turn it back on. Jesus, what are you?
It just did that. It went shh, and then I turned it off. It just made that noise.
Jesus, sounds like the throttle's wide open on it. Alright, we've had the motor start, but we've got a problem where it wants to rev right up. So we'll have to look into that. Alright, we're going to give it another start. Alright. My assistant was resting her foot on the throttle a bit. So, when you say a bit, she was resting on there a bit. Just give it a little bit of throttle. Just a little bit. Give it a little bit of throttle. Yeah, just hold it up a little bit. Keep the revs on it a bit. Just hold it there. We'll try and get it to, it's got crap in it. So we've got the radiator cap off too. And what I'm trying to do is, we know we've got old fuel in this motor because it's been sitting a while. Our belt's on there, which is good. I just want to, you know, we've got to try and keep it running. Alright, so far so good. It doesn't sound like it's got any noises. So that's good. It's running smooth. And what I'll do is I'll leave it to run like this. You got your foot off it? Leave your foot off it. Yep. Let's see what it does now. It's running real smooth, isn't it? That's good. Alright. So it seems that we've had some dirty fuel, and what I did is I put some carb cleaner down the fuel rail before I even put the motor in the car because it had a bit of crap in it, but it sounds like we've bypassed that, which is great. And yeah, it's running nice. So what I'll do is, you're just watching the water here, you're going to let it push any air bubbles out because we know it's got air in it. What I was going to do is, before we well, I'm going to flush the water out of the motor obviously, so I've just got plain water at the moment, and we just want to, you know, get any crap out of it or anything that's in it. It runs good, which is less stressful for me because I dread this part. Well, as you can see, I put about probably 16 hours in this car pulling the motor completely out of it, and you know, to have something go with it, wrong with it, or it won't start, is it worries me a lot. And it runs real smooth, the motor, so that's good. And yeah, that will be the end of the Nissan Xtrail video. What I'll do is, once I get this water circulating, I'll clean it all out and flush it, and I know everything's good, I'll take it to drive down the road and I'll give us a quick ride in the car. Like, I mean, I've got to take it for a road where I've got new tyres on the front. I've got to get the back ones done. But yeah, once I do that, I'll take this for a little quick spin and we'll see what it runs like. Alright, so it's raining outside today, and got the car in neutral. Let's give her a hit. That's my CD player, what I've put in it.
1220 Fraggles Fish and Chip.
That works good. The heaters work good. Let's crank it. Oh, look at that. Starts like brand new. It's raining today, and the car's not registered at the moment. So I've just got to be a bit careful. I have to come and check this at night time. But I did promise you to drive. But the only thing is, I'll just drive it in the backyard here. I don't want to take the car out in the road. So I'll just show you. That's the best I can do at the moment. Until it's registered, which it won't be for another 10 days. So it's got to go for an inspection. Let's just hope I don't run into nothing. It was a bit almighty bang. And that's the Xtrail. I've just washed the motor. I didn't film that, and I've just bled the coolant system because I put new coolant in it. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not real sure if you can. Yeah. It's done 266,000, but the motor's only done 115,000 in it. Everything works good. The only thing I had trouble with is how to get the car in reverse. So what you got to do is you got to put it up, lift it up, slide it over, and that's how you get these in reverse. And it's a 6-speed, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So it's a 6-speed car. Put the handbrake on, and to erase them lights, when you get the check engine light, what you got to do is you got to turn the ignition to the on position, wait 3 seconds, depress the accelerator pedal 5 times within 5 seconds really fast, and then wait another 7 seconds, and then hold the accelerator pedal flat to the floor for 10 seconds, and then once it's past the 10 seconds, the check engine light will go out, turn the ignition off, go to restart your car, and that's how you fix the codes in it. So anyone that wants to learn how to fix the codes in your car, that's the procedure for this car. Everything works in it. The radio, what I installed, what you see with the wire and that.
Co-contribution is payable to those who...
That all works. Hazards work. Headlights. Indicators. I've basically, like, for the cost, what it costs for the car, I'm very happy. But yeah, as you can see, pigs lived in the car. I'll give you a look. This is how I got the car. I haven't cleaned it out yet. Oh, that's my mechanic there. You might find an odd coin on the floor by the looks of it. Yeah, here's my head mechanic. Come here, hey, come over here. Come over. Jump back in. Oh, you don't want, yeah, jump in. It's all right. I wouldn't normally let the dog in here, but the car's like, they're like a bunch of filthy pigs that owned it, and I didn't show you any of this stuff beforehand. But like, I mean, who has a car and just leaves all this shit in here? Like, I mean, look at this half-eaten food and all this stuff. Like, just, I don't know who does that. Hey, he's my mechanic. He helped me put the motor in it, didn't you, Mr. Mechanic? Hmm? He's always so hands-on. He likes to be in the videos. And yeah, I got new tyres for it. As you can see, I just got them done today. 4 new tyres on it. I'll just show you the motor. New front tyres. And the only thing I did with the engine is I degreased it. I forgot to do the bonnet. I put brand new coolant in. And yeah, that's the motor running, all back together. It sure as hell did come up pretty good after a grease. I'll get some paint thinners or something and I'll get to remove that paint off the engine. But yeah, and that's the end of the Nissan Xtrail. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments. I'm always happy to see what other people have got to say. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and have a great day.